I'm not sure whether I need to ask you for a precise price estimate on Nvidia at this time. What do we now require from it? In any case, Nvidia is a prominent company and remains at the forefront of the shift that is coming with AI. Long-term investors should, in my opinion, use Nvidia's congestion and consolidation as chances to increase their holdings if they aren't already. For everyone else, I believe it's simply a time to exercise patience, as equities naturally don't rise all at once. But there are a few stocks that are rising. Nvidia has increased by roughly 3%. Beginning Wednesday, the business will hold a 3-day summit in Washington. It has increased by 25% in the last month. As a result of that action, its market capitalization has risen above $3 trillion once more, surpassing Microsoft to take second place, only surpassed by Apple. You told us a sobering story about how even the most powerful, groundbreaking businesses can eventually see a decline in their stock price. From 1997 to 2006, Microsoft simply said, wham, breaking even took 17 years. Nvidia isn't located here at the moment, is it? We don't believe so, Charles, but when things are going well, we sometimes forget about the past, because we deal with high net worth individual investors. I refer to it as the crucible of fear and greed, since everyone wants to be in while things are going well, and to leave when they aren't. In order to remind people that Microsoft, the greatest corporation in the last 30 to 40 years, has had some difficult periods, we wrote a little article about the company. Our phones have been ringing nonstop as Nvidia's stock has been rising. We've got to have more Nvidia. Got to have more Nvidia. Although we don't believe we're in a Microsoft scenario. Stocks that have run that quickly typically consolidate because trees don't grow to the sky. However, Todd, using the same chart, is it possible that we are in a parabolic era at this point? And if that's the case, there's a significant difference between getting out here and staying out here. People will undoubtedly call you on your ascent, asking you pointed questions such, why am I not in? Naturally, the phones don't ring when it falls, do they? Yes, absolutely. Thus, Nvidia has skyrocketed. 2 months after reaching an intraday high of $140 per share in June, it fell to the 90s. If hyperscaling persists, extremely high volatility, akin to an earthquake aftershock pattern, will most likely be the typical pattern. It's quite thrilling, but we advise our clients not to chase these stocks when they go high. Use volatility to your advantage, hold your horses, and keep your dollar cost average in check. You combine the 4 12-month PE ratios in the PSL as well, correct? Here, PE multiples. It's clear that Nvidia is in a class by itself. How much money would you invest in such a venture? For example, would you want to utilize a PG ratio or something similar? How many stocks are you choosing for the portfolio based only on PE ratios and similar criteria? You can use a lot of valuation indicators, of course, but Nvidia will ping the top bar on all of them if we use the poster child for highly priced. Thus, we examine a wide range of topics. This demonstrates how highly valued the AI ecosystem stocks, the white-hot NASDAQ 100, and some of your value brands' superior valuations are. Is there still a deal to be had there in a week when there will be a lot of news about semiconductors, whether it's Nvidia speaking in Washington or AMD's event, which includes this update with Supermicro? Does the industry still have room for improvement? Once more, I believe you will need to choose stocks. Therefore, I don't think it will surprise me if Nvidia reaches new all-time record highs before the year ends because Blackwell, in a strange way of a delay, benefits from it because no one wants to fall behind and miss out on those chips, which are 2 to 3 times more powerful than the ones that are currently available. As a result, we actually like Nvidia through the end of the year. I've been fairly forthright in my belief that an AI digestion phase is imminent. In my opinion, it will occur in the first half of 2025. When that happens, I believe you're going to have a tremendous problem because the companies that have been investing all of this money on AI have experienced a decline in their sales rather than an increase. By that, what do I mean? Following their June quarter reports, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon, 3 of the top 4 spenders on AI infrastructure, all saw a decline in their forward revenue projections, which is why those stocks had some problems. You will therefore experience a digesting phase unless you can see that all of the expenditures are converted into income. When these same customers absorbed all of the COVID spend, Nvidia's revenues, which had previously increased by over 80% year over year, fell by over 20% year over year. Furthermore, it is evident from a chart of Nvidia, or the CMOS, that they eventually recovered from the lower end of that upward trend. Carter, I'm sure, has an opinion on this. To return to the index level, the markets have been looking for leadership from semiconductors, which has led the NASDAQ, which has led the S&P. Meanwhile, Nvidia's stock is up around 3% today, marking its fourth consecutive day of gains. It is presently less than 10% from its peak and more than 40% higher than when it was at its lowest on August 5. This morning, the chipmaker began its three-day AI summit. The stock was once again classified as overweight by Morgan Stanley. Guy, if you put that one up, I believe it was a super micro move, but we discussed this before. Carter may have mentioned it last week. At Nvidia, you're in this pennant shape, which will eventually break. Even though it appears to be breaking to the upside today, I still believe this pennant to be intact. I believe the stock closed over 140 on June 20th and reversed, which is the level that Tim kind of hinted to. It's intriguing that it hasn't been brought up yet. In what direction does it break then? Out of this pennant, will it break to the upside or the bottom? The action today points to the upside, but we'll see. It hasn't arrived yet. Additionally, I believe there are two stocks in the Nvidia versus Apple comparison where I would stick with Carter, and I don't think Apple has very high expectations. We are aware that Nvidia is excellent. We've now had to deal with a few production-related problems. The corporation has returned and essentially assured us that demand will be exceptionally robust in the fourth quarter. I then returned to the stock and discussed some of the market factors that have contributed to Nvidia's superior performance, aside from those that are clearly unique to Nvidia. The macro appears to support Nvidia. I believe the market is less concerned about that multiple here, and it supports the names where you have growth. Oh, you're in the investment business. What do you think about Nvidia? Is a question that everyone you meet asks you. Additionally, some individuals are unaware of what Nvidia is. Do you not think that has somewhat subsided? Yes, but that's a good thing. The market is healthier as a result. We heard it from the person cutting our hair, so it's as if we should all own GameStop. Not in my opinion. Thus, the dynamic remains the same. You need a more comprehensive plan, and the specialists purchasing these stocks, we are familiar with the businesses we are purchasing. There are other purchases in addition to the S&P index, which is also rising. Although I'm not saying that Nvidia earnings watch parties will no longer take place, they will definitely happen. It does seem that some of the excitement surrounding them has subsided, which is a good thing. You may argue that that's good after all. Apart from the Medicaps, Cerebras, a chipmaker, has filed for an initial public offering, IPO. They might challenge Nvidia. Sam Altman, Coatue, Altimeter, and Benchmark are among the backers of the company, which was valued at $4 billion in the most recent fundraising round. They intend to list on the NASDAQ. I'm not sure. According to Buffet today, if you want to think that the most owned CMEs are still comparatively underweight, Steve.